Welcome to the Film Garage 208 podcast. My name is Sarah and this is Daniel.
Hello.
We only have one mic today. I forgot about
We're going to be sharing a mic today.
We're sharing a mic. Okay. Today we have with us Sidney, Jason, and Sheldon from Extreme Rush Family Fun Center in Chubbuck.
Super happy to be here.
Thank you so much for driving down here in a freaking blizzard.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised you didn't call it quits because I would have. We almost did on the way here. We were like, should we joke?
Yeah.
And text them like 10 minutes before saying we're rescheduling.
Up until Blackfoot, it was the worst.
We just updated our life insurance policy, so I was okay with it.
That's a good idea. We were just talking about that the other day.
It was actually a semi that was off the road down in the burrow pit too. It was great.
That's really scary.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Oh, scary. I feel like I have to talk now when you hand it to me. I'll be ready.
Okay, so tell us about what it is you guys are doing. What is Extreme Rush Family Fun Center?
So Extreme Rush, the Family Fun Center is basically kind of like our brainchild. We love going on double dates, triple dates, taking out our wives, and going out and having fun. And just Pocatello just didn't have, the stuff that we wanted to do. They had some things, but there just isn't very much that you can do to go out and just kind of have fun. You have to go places to go and do things.
Yeah, anytime me and my wife would do stuff, it's like, all right, where are we going to go? We're going to go to Logan. We're going to go to Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. Let's leave town because,
right,
exactly.
Oh, well, actually travel and leave town.
Right.
Yeah.
Pocatello isn't a destination.
Yeah. I mean, there's like he said, there's things to do in Pocatello, but you do them once or twice, and all of a sudden you've hit everything. And you're like, all right, well, now what?
You do everything in a weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so it started when we just did baptism for my son. We were going out to eat at Butterbur's, and we're sitting in front of Butterbur's, and we kind of messed around here and there talking about doing escape rooms and whatever, and all of a sudden Jason's just like, hey, let's actually do that. And I was like, what? Let's do escape rooms. And I was like, okay, yeah,
sure, whatever. Yeah.
How far into escape rooms was this? Like when they first started, or after they'd been going for a while?
They'd been going for a while.
Yeah. So you're just like,
in the mall, there's a place called Level Up, and they had some escape rooms there, and we had gone and done a couple of them, and we were just like, oh man, we love that experience. We love escape rooms. It's a good group experience to go out and do stuff like that. And then we found out they shut them down, and we were like, oh well, that's something we can do. We enjoy doing this type of stuff. I think we can figure it out. Let's do that. And so it started out very, very crayon on a piece of paper,
It was literally a crayon on a piece of paper.
Coming up with some ideas on a napkin in Butterbur's. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of came up with like a little bit of a concept, or what we thought was a concept. And kind of went from there. Where
do you go from there?
Yeah.
With that initial plan.
Where do you go?
Yeah, where do
you
you
had the
go?
concept for Extreme Rush then, or this was the escape rooms?
We weren't even Extreme Rush at that point.
Yeah.
It was just kind of formulating the idea and formulating kind of what we wanted to do, what we
kind
wanted
of a what
to
if
bring.
scenario, almost like.
Yeah.
And we knew we had stuff in town, and we didn't want to bring stuff that was the same.
Right.
So
yeah,
sure.
the idea wasn't to necessarily compete with anybody. We just wanted to do something to enrich the community that we already lived in. And we didn't really have a whole lot of escape rooms, and the ones that we knew of had closed down. So we thought, well, why don't we just do a big, huge facility of just escape rooms, right? Have like 14 escape rooms in this big, huge facility and just be escape room. Yeah. And that's kind of where we got started. We made some contacts via the web, mm-hmm. and I was working with a company with escape rooms, and they were like, hey, if you're looking to kind of grow and be the size that you're wanting to be, why don't you come to this international expo? So it's a worldwide conference that they have down in Orlando where the biggest names from all across the country go to. So like there was people from like Disney there, mm-hmm. right? And Microsoft and Apple and LG. And I mean, just massive place, big names, big place.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever tried to Google where to buy a roller coaster.
I have not.
It's hard to just Google online buy a roller coaster. And this convention that we went to, it's called IAAPA, IAAPA, which is oh geez, International Association for Amusement Parks and Attractions.
Right.
And yeah, it was it's a mouthful for sure. And that's where like people go to buy roller coasters. Like they have roller coasters, they have water slides, they
Mysterious
have
people.
And a lot of this stuff is like people
Concepts, like, or there's structures built in.
There's structures
there's
built
actually
in the facility.
Yeah, it's like just a convention center. People have actually put up demos of their roller coasters. They put up, a new. There's this 3D printer that's probably as big as this room almost.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just stuff that anything that you could think of creatively, they can make it.
Like the max capacity.
People design them or make it or make them, custom. A lot of people have been doing this there. They've been doing this for 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And so it's where you go to get all the cool stuff that you can't really just Google.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, we got invited there by this company called Amusement Products, and they were a go-karting company. And so they got us like exhibitor tickets so we can go and see the floor and kind of what it was. And as you're going down into the floor, we got our passes, and there's this big IAPA Expo. Maybe we can like show you guys like the picture.
Weren't you at one just recently?
Yeah,
I saw that one.
There, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the same banner there, and then you take these escalators down into the expo, and it's the biggest building I've ever seen.
The expo is 3/4 of a mile by 3/4 of a mile. That's the building.
It's like
that it's in. You can't see one side to the other.
Right.
Like that's how large. I've never seen a building that big in my life.
Like they have an app that you can punch in where you're at and where you're going, and it'll navigate.
It's like Google Maps, but further inside the building.
Like Latin longitudes, like so you know where exactly where they exist.
It's probably really tall too, right?
Yeah.
For roller coasters to fit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So the pillars are probably like 8 to 10 feet wide that hold up the ceiling alone. And there's like 30,000 vendors there. They push through like how many people? Like
So this last one that we just went to, I just got the report about 2 days ago, and they had 400,000 people come through that building in 5 days.
Whoa. How many of those people have the budget to buy these massive things? Like, do you think a lot of those people are really serious buyers?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what the convention is for buyers.
It's a lot of competition.
It's not somewhere that, just somebody goes through to look at stuff.
Yeah.
You could, if you wanted it, it'd be fun because there's a lot of free play arcades and stuff to look at.
Food vendors and whatnot.
Yeah. But a lot of it is people, it's essentially a sales show. People walk through and find designers, find, people who are going to make what they have work. It's a lot of people will collaborate with different vendors and whatnot, but everybody not everybody that's there, but most of the people that are there are established businesses.
Yeah.
So they have some sort of, cash flow and they've got stuff going on. A lot of them are expanding what they already have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that first year we went down, it was more of we had an idea of what we wanted. We wanted go-karts. We didn't even know that we wanted Gel Blaster.
It was actually, they kind of brought me onto this project about a year ago, right before we went to IAPA the first time. And initially they were talking about escape rooms, because that was kind of their main thing, maybe go-karts, a couple arcades, and I think it was
it was a 7D theater.
Yeah, 7D theater.
It was like a big, huge globe theater, kind of like the Sphere that they have down in Vegas right now, but it was a bit like smaller.
You sit inside and you watch certain things.
Okay.
And then like launch slides where you go down a slide and launch yourself onto an inflatable thing.
I forgot about the launch slides. Those are freaking sweet.
And there were a couple things where we're like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. And we got down to IAPA and we're like, whoa, we started going from one vendor to the next vendor and spending a couple hours just talking to them, and we realized.
I'm sure your eyes were just open.
Oh my gosh,
it was like, oh my gosh,
probably like crazy. What you were thinking before, 180, so small.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. We're like, there's so much more that we could do, and going there really kind of set everything in motion to 100%. Be as big as it is. Because it was kind of like like they said, a big thing with escape rooms. Maybe some arcades, maybe, and going there was like, oh, let's actually do this. Let's do this. We came up with a Gel Blaster idea. That was one of the first vendors that we spent 2 hours at. I mean, it was, a lot of them have demos and stuff, and just going there was just like mind blowing.
That's really cool.
Was it mind blowing? I mean, I'm sure the items themselves were really mind blowing, but was any of it surprising to you when like it came down to the cost and like what you maybe were thinking you could do before. Now you were like, for the same price, we could do so much more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of our accounting financial guru, if you will.
I'm really bad with numbers.
We know. But, and so when we went down there, we kind of had a budget set out where we're like, okay, so we want to be able to spend, this amount of money on attractions because we're going to need to have this amount, for our build out on our structures and everything else. So this is what we've got, which is why we were kind of going the neighborhood that we were. Escape rooms are super cheap. Right. It doesn't take very much to
a room.
Some locks, basic.
Right. It's an escape room. Go-karts were a little spendy, but we weren't really pushing go-karts at that point too much. Our vendor that we were working with at Amusement Products, they were helping us with our escape rooms and possibly thinking about laser tag. Because again, two things that are kind of cheaper.
Kind of a fun center.
Right. It's a staple for fun centers. And they're like, well, have you thought about go-kart? Anyway, and that's what kind of got us onto that road. Right. And when we got there and we started to see all these other vendors, they had their pricing and stuff there right in front of you because they want you to purchase it while you're there at the conference.
Okay. Yeah.
So that they can get their orders in and you can get stuff ordered, right, and have it come in. And so we did have a specific set budget when we got there to the conference, but we were only planning on doing it for our escape rooms and for laser tag. But when we started walking around and we started seeing things like gel blasters and holograms
and the quality of some of the other go-karts,
unbelievable products that were coming out.
Because of like new technology?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So there's so much high end stuff there technology wise that we had never even knew existed.
I never even imagined this stuff.
Yeah.
Some stuff you go there and you're like, well,
Like the go-karts that Amusement Products has, they're good go-karts, but they're the ones that you've seen, like,
the very basic.
You see them everywhere. They all kind of just go the same speed.
Right. And so we had a POS provider or point of sale people that we were talking to, and they were tied into another go-kart company, and they were like, hey, have you talked to BizCart? And we were like, oh no, what's BizCart? So they took us over to BizCart and they introduced us over there with the guys over at BizCart, and excuse me, and we just saw their cart and we saw the quality of their cart and we saw how cutting edge and like they're based off of like Formula One race cars. Like they're
legit.
Produced in Italy, and they're
top 3 in the world right now.
It's not like Boondocks,
And Boondocks is kind of what we were thinking. We're like, all right, these little
like go-karts. Yeah. Right. Because that's all we know in Idaho.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all we see. Yeah. And I've been to several places growing up that had go-karts, and that's kind of what they were. I just thought that was the standard.
They're always fun, but you get off and it's just kind of like,
fun. Well, that was cool.
What you expected.
Right. And it's not like you're really racing. You're kind of driving it to drive a go-kart. You floored the whole time. Right. If you get behind somebody, it's because, everybody just goes the same speed, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But these go-karts, they had variable speeds. They could be controlled. They could, they put sensors on the track that you can slow people down if you need to, or and I think what was the top speed of
they can top out 70 miles.
They're like capable of going 70 miles an hour.
So you have to wear like a helmet when you race.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you don't have to.
And obviously they're not going to go 70, but like the fact that they're capable of going that fast is insane. I've had them going about 40, 45, and that's terrifying.
That is scary.
I mean, you're sitting
cruising
right off the, you're sitting on the ground almost, and going that fast, you're just.
We just got this new little truck. It's like a little 660cc truck, and that maxes out at 45. And when I'm going 45 in that, I'm scared.
Yeah, you're just
I can't even imagine a little go-kart.
Yeah,
and that thing, you can push those things to the limit. Like you don't realize, like we're big dudes, and they took us over. Well, you're not as big anymore.
Thank you. I've been trying to lose weight.
He's been working on it. But they took us over to this place called Andretti's, and like the Andretti family has been in Formula One racing for forever. And so they started doing family fun centers. And there was one right across the street from the convention center. And it's a 150,000 square foot building. They've got like 3-4 different tracks there.
It's like the size of Walmart, to give you an idea.
That's crazy.
They took us over there. Wow. They threw us in their track in those carts, and they were the BizCart.
Yeah, they're basically like, go try our carts. Yeah. We're like, okay, sure, why not? Whatever. They're the same as everybody else is what we thought. Man, by the end of that race, I was like stretching my muscles. I'm like, oh, gee, that was a workout
intense.
driving that car. You know, there were times I thought I was going to smash into the wall, and up until then, I thought I was a good driver.
Smash into the wall.
Well, you can drift corners like you're peeling out, like those things. You don't think they have that much power, but you can, and they have boost buttons on them.
Yeah, and the boost actually does something. I've been places that you're allegedly you push a boost and it's like, all right, well that didn't really do much.
Right.
But these are like if there's like a time limit between each boost and you get 3 or 4 per track, and you can customize it, which is really cool.
It's like a real life Super Mario.
And you hit that boost and you feel you're just like, oh,
wow.
I mean, you feel it kick
Fun.
in, and
It's
you
just
can
so
pass people if you need
pass
to.
people with the
Yeah.
boost. And so it's every like 30,
Cool.
45 seconds you can hit the boost.
Yeah, and it actually feels like you're actually racing. And if you're a better driver or whatever, you can pass people.
Yeah.
You can get a better lap time. And that's one of the cool things is they record your lap times. So you can kind of see they have a leaderboard, a weekly leaderboard,
cool.
a monthly leaderboard. So
And
you can
those
keep
are the
track of
ones
your
that you're
stuff.
bringing to Extreme Rush.
That is correct. Yes.
Very cool. And that was not going to be part of the
No,
plan
no.
before you went to this competition.
No, but after we went and rode them, we're like, we have to bring this
We
to
got-
Pocatello.
yeah,
So, I
this is
mean,
insane.
for us, our vision, if you
so
will,
fun.
is that we want to bring high-end technology and value to the valley in Southeast Idaho. That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can go down the street and you can go to an escape room, or you can go down to Boondocks, right? And you can go and have fun. And I think that's great. But we're wanting to bring stuff from around the world
Yeah.
to our valley in Idaho, so that we become a
You're
destination.
thinking so much
sure.
more long term.
Absolutely,
Become
100%.
a destination. That's the key.
Yes.
You're thinking
Yeah,
in
so
the future.
people are leaving wherever they live to come to Pocatello.
Exactly.
Versus the other way around.
100%.
That would be great. So then, okay, so now you have the idea, you have kind of more of a structure of what you want inside of it. So now what do you do?
Well, then we're like,
How do you find the space?
where do
What's
we
fund
next?
this thing?
Find
yeah.
money.
Space.
Yeah, where's the money? Where's the
Right.
space?
So we hit the ground
Yeah.
as soon as we got back, and we did a bunch of surveys. We handed a bunch of cards around
Dude, it was like
Pocatello.
4 degrees that day
it
too.
was so
We went
cool,
around
so cool.
handing out surveys.
surveys,
Where,
just to get
It was
an
just
idea.
like, if
Flyers
something
on
like
cars.
this were to come into town, what would you want? And we gave them a list of options, and then Sheldon set that all up. He's really good with the survey techno
In
side
person?
of things.
You said in person?
No, we just put flyers on cars.
They were little teeny
Oh.
business cards almost, like little business cards with a QR code on
Okay.
it. And we would just put it on their windshields.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a website. We didn't have anything. So we're just like,
It was just a survey.
Yeah, we're like, what do you guys want?
People
Right.
answered?
yeah.
Cool.
100%.
Where did
How
you
many
put?
pass out,
Yeah.
and how many answers did you get?
We got 15,000 cards.
Yeah.
And we knew that the response rate wasn't going to be what we
terrible,
wanted. That's why we
terrible.
got so many.
Yeah.
And so we ended up getting like what, 250 responses.
Yeah, about that. We
Out of
actually put
15,000.
like a prize, like win $100.
Right.
You know,
It's
just
at
to
least one-
kind of get people on board of wanting to
Right.
take the survey.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we got kicked out of every parking lot in
I was
Pocatello.
going to say, were they like, get out of here?
Yeah,
Costco
every
was
single
the
one.
best though. Like
Super nice.
if you want to be protected when you go shopping, go to a Costco. we were literally only there for like 2 minutes.
Right.
And there was somebody out
They're
there and they
like,
were like, hey, we really appreciate what you're doing, but you can't do that in Costco.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Didn't someone like
Remember my name.
the membership, right? Buy a membership to Costco.
Didn't someone go into Walmart and say there's some dudes
yeah.
out there breaking into cars?
Yeah, they said people are outside opening cars and putting stuff inside, and we're like,
Where did you get that?
it was under the windshield wiper, but
So Paul Blart comes over and kicks us out of Walmart.
Well, the funny thing is Walmart was like, yeah, you probably really shouldn't be doing that. And we're like, well, can we just finish up like the last 8 rows? And they're like, yeah, that's
sure,
fine.
just
And then
finish up and
we're like, all right, sounds good.
we're almost done. We're like, okay.
Because I've wondered that too.
Like, trust us. This is what it's for.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
You
I want
want
to
one?
put stuff on cars, but I'm like,
Yeah, did you want one? Well, actually,
Can I?
I think we gave one to one of the, you know how they drive around in the little cars out there?
Sure.
I gave one to one of
Flashing
the people
yellow.
out there. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, take the survey. And they're like, all right.
Right.
okay, so you did the survey.
We did the survey. We knew we needed to get funded. So we were like, okay, we need to start finding investors. So then we started hitting up the people that we knew, friends, family, anybody who wanted to come in like, hey, this is our idea. We started doing business pitches. We made a PowerPoint. We started, going to people's houses and talking to them, showing them what our vision is and kind of what we want to do. And so we started getting our investor base. And then on the other side of it, we needed a building. So the search for a building was
began a long time ago.
Yeah.
was rough.
That was the hardest part, was the building.
I bet.
Just because of the size that we need, because we wanted to do indoor go-kart.
Yeah.
Because we'd seen a lot
Because of all
of the
the lights
go-kart
outside, yeah.
outdoors, but you can only run it for 4 months during the year. And I think that's why a lot of the go-kart companies that we've had come and go and they go out of business is because they can't operate all year. No. And so we're like, we want to make sure that we're inside of a structure and inside of a building, but that building's got to be big enough to be able to put a full-size track.
Pocatello
right?
does not
and
have
these,
a lot of
and these
giant
go-karts.
No.
So
don't.
Yeah, we went and looked at the Titan buildings, which are those big yellow buildings down Pole Line. We went and checked there. We went out to Hoku, checked a couple of the buildings out there. We were trying to get into the mall, but there's a lot of backside story going on at the mall. They're trying to sell it, and then they don't want to.
It's a big mess.
Like a
It's
mess to get
messy.
into.
Super mess. Yeah. So we had Cal Ranch because Cal Ranch moved to the other side.
Okay.
The one by Walmart, or
The one that used to be over there.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying
right
to
next to
remember.
Hobby Lobby.
It was
Cal
right
Ranch.
next to Hobby Lobby.
Got it.
Yeah, they
Right.
moved to
So-
the backside of the mall.
Right.
But they still were leasing that space, and it was just empty.
They were totally willing to just sign over the lease to us because they're still having to pay it. They're tied into it.
They're like, we just want out.
Yeah. And so like, we'll sign it over to you. But then the owner of the mall was like, nah, we got to go through Simon CRE. He's the guy that's looking at purchasing and we don't want to, ruffle any feathers and make him mad. So that he ultimately told us no. And we thought that we were good to go. And so we had already.
And by this point, we already had the loan.
Right.
Oh.
We had our loan.
would have, I
pushing
guess, been a
everything.
pretty good spot. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
indoors,
Well,
bathrooms,
and it was-
brings
I
traffic
think-
to other businesses.
Yeah, I think it was barely 60,000 square feet, which is about what we needed at a minimum to have was the 60,000 square feet, and that had it.
You said you already had the loan at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were able to get it without like a business or like
Well,
without a
So we
property
couldn't
space.
finalize it, but
The loan was it was kind of a tough thing to get because Sidney's got a lot of experience in restaurant stuff. Jason's had his
I've
own
ran
business.
my own business before.
I've been I've managed several businesses for the past 10 years. So collectively, we all have experience that is needed, but we don't have specific family fun center experience. And so actually, before we went
That's
to
a
IAPA the
concern for
first
them.
time,
yeah. The banks wanted us to hire somebody that has 5 years of experience in the industry.
In that field.
right, in the industry, and
Oh,
we didn't know
wow.
anybody.
Interesting.
And so before we went to IAPA the first time, we were talking to somebody, and they're like, "Oh, this is too much money. Nobody's gonna give you this money. You need to don't go to IAPA. Go, save your money instead." And we actually
She basically told us that we weren't going to be able to open.
and then
She told
nobody
us
else.
no. She was
It
like,
was a no.
this is not going to happen.
based on what
She was
we
like,
had.
I've been doing this for over 15 years. You're not going to open. She's like, just
because
take my
of
word
you.
for it right now. You're not going to open.
Nobody's
Well,
gonna
that
give you
was
the
based
money.
off of experience and not lack of money, right? Because she concerned about you getting the money too?
Both.
Lack of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's actually, I don't know what to say names, but she's the head over at the SBDC in Southeast Idaho. And so they told us we needed to go through this small business, development center to, it'll
be able to
open
get
up
your
the
loan.
doors for us. And we have to go there first before we can do this and do that. So we're checking off boxes.
Right. And at this point, we
Okay.
didn't really know a whole lot
Right.
what we were doing anyways. So
Yeah.
we're going to,
Right.
sure.
And so we
Just
roll
doing
up
what they
there.
say.
We're excited. We've put all this work in, hours and hours and hours, put it on her desk. And
Great
she's
great
just
business
like-
plan.
Right.
Very fleshed out.
And she's like, I like the idea, I like the concept, but it's not going to work.
Nobody's going to give you money
Yep.
is one of the things. And we actually canceled our trip to IAPA.
That was the small business lady.
Yes.
Okay.
and we actually canceled our trip because we're like, well, maybe, she's the professional. She knows what she's talking about. Let's not go to Orlando. Let's not go to this convention. Let's save our money and try to
come about
Try
it
to
a
do
different
something
way.
else.
At that point, had you run that by any other bankers or anyone else to
She had connections to 3 different local banks that were there.
Hmm.
And she talked to the main managers that were at those banks. And those managers reflected the same thing that she said.
Yeah.
That they're like, we're not going to be able to give you a loan. This is not something that we're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're like, well, maybe
not. I don't know.
maybe
not, yeah.
maybe
hit
we
a
don't.
brick wall?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we canceled the trip. And then, I don't know, like a week before,
It was 4 days. 4 days
4 days before
IAPA.
we're just like, you know what? Let's go anyways. Let's just take this risk, stick our neck out there and see what happens.
Okay.
And that was a pivotal point because not only did we kind of, our eyes were open to the possibilities, but we also made a lot of contacts. We made a guy,
High-end people.
we met a guy that had worked for Disney for 50 years. And he's like, oh, like this is a good business plan. Let's see what we can do.
Fantastic. We can get you hooked up with this, and we can
You're
put
like,
you
there's
here.
that 5 years of experience
Yep.
that we needed.
You got it.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. And so we said, we kind of got this approval of this guy that worked for Disney, which is great credentials.
Yeah.
And we took it to the banks, and they're like, oh, you guys have some experience.
got
But this guy,
credibility.
but this guy has.
That does matter.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was a lot easier to get funding when we had a little bit more. I guess networking with people we networked with.
Yeah. And I don't think had we have not gone, we wouldn't have had that experience.
I was
We
going to
don't know.
say, so backtracking, you almost canceled that trip that like changed all your
Yes.
perspective.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
we canceled everything.
We did cancel.
Yeah.
It was canceled. The flight and everything was
Tickets,
canceled.
Yeah, we canceled everything, and we were
Wow.
like, yeah, let's
Shouldn't
not. Yeah, and then not necessarily on a whim, but
It was.
Who decided did one of you like make a call or text?
I had this gut feeling that was just eating me up for about 2 days. And I kept telling my wife, I was like, we need to go. Like, I don't know what it is. We need to go. We need to go. We need to go. No, I can't. Like the banks are. It's a waste of our money, right? And we were funding everything on our own.
Yeah.
And
Right?
we
So
were
we had
going,
no investors or anything at this point. We were doing this all from our own funds.
out of pocket.
And I mean, this trip's this is a $10,000 trip.
Yeah.
It's not like a leisure vacation down to Disneyland.
It's work.
Right.
Yeah.
It's work.
Yeah.
It's a trip to go spend more money too.
Yeah, no,
Even if things do
100%.
go well, you're spending even more.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I called Sidney and I was like, hey, Sidney, I know we've canceled this trip, but we got to go.
Yeah.
Like we got to go. I don't know what it is, but we got to go. And then Sidney talks me back on the phone and he's like, I don't know what it is, but I've been feeling the same way for the last couple of days.
Good. Yeah.
And we said, okay, sounds good. So when I get off of work tonight, I'm going to hop on the computer and I'm going to rebook everything and we're going to fly back out and we're going to go. And so we basically put everything back together and then we went. And as Sheldon mentioned earlier, I mean, that was pivotal.
How were your spirits at that
we're
point going into that trip?
Very naive.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, and that was a scary move because we had the banks and the quote unquote professionals that said, don't do this.
Right.
Like this is absolutely a bad idea. Nobody's going to, I've got 3 or 4 different banks here that all say the same thing. Don't do it. And, just going by their gut, if we hadn't gone, we would not have been where we are.
The idea is
Not even
don't
100%.
rush at all.
That made everything. Like that trip is where we came up with the sloth idea. That trip is where we came up with a lot of our new attractions, our anchors. That trip is where we learned a lot about Family Fun Center. I guess running a Family Fun Center business.
Right.
Sure.
Up until then, it was kind of just a.
Yeah, go ahead, Sidney.
We met people that have been running them in Idaho, and we talked with them over the phone, and she kind of like gave us like her numbers, kind of what she does and how well it does, and also the contacts we made with professionals in the business. They have these high level detailed reports of the FECs that
FEC is Family Entertainment Center.
That like send them all of their information, and they're like, okay, this is what this does, and this is what this does. And we already had we did a bunch of research in
locally,
right? And what go-karts do, what arcades do, what all this does. And so the good thing was, and the thing that made us feel better and give us like peace of mind was when we're comparing our numbers and our projections versus what the actual FECs are doing. They were like
Pretty close.
They were
Yeah,
very
pretty
close.
Cool.
If anything, they were actually a little higher than what we were projecting. And so we were like, oh, we could actually do this. Like, this is actually something that's feasible that we can do.
We just need to make the money to get started.
Right. And we had all of our investors that we talked to, they all are business owners. They're all people that they've taken the risk. They know about it and they have the experience. And so a lot of them took us under their wing and kind of helped us out. And we're like, okay, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And so really it's just been like a conglomeration of, everyone kind of helping us out and saying, okay, we believe in this. Like, this is what you should do.
Let's pitch in to make it happen.
Right. And that's how we got tied in with our bank, because all the other banks were like, no, too much risk.
Yeah, that's right.
And we went to, ended up going to, Citizens Community Bank, and we have all our loans through there. And a lot of our investors actually have all of their businesses at Citizens
They
Community
recommended that bank.
Right.
Okay.
And so we went over there because we tried out Mountain America, we tried out ICCU, we tried out
So many banks.
all the big banks. We went to so many banks, and we ended up going over there, and they were like, let's check it out. Let's see what's going on.
Well, they're really willing to help, like work with us and help us make it happen versus just no.
Well, I think they saw the investors that we had on our team with us, and they knew the level of businessmen that they were. And they're like, if these people are going to sign on for this, then this has got to be something that's going to work. Yeah. And it's got to be something that's going to be worth the risk. Yeah. So I think that helped a lot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then we were going to try and do like a small business loan and do like a 501 and tie in our homes and everything like that for collateral. And they were like, well, that's still a little bit too much of our neck out there. That means the bank has to cover, this percent. And so we were like, okay, well, ace in the hole. I was like, I've been looking into this loan. It's through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and it's a government-backed loan, and it's actually a 90-10. So it's 90% covered, 10% bank has to cover. Oh, wow. So it actually takes their risk down. Yeah, that's like an additional 15% off of what they were thinking.
And you could combine that, or you could use that with them.
So basically, it's a guarantor. It's like okay, I'm going to guarantee this loan. If you guys foreclose on it, we'll pay off the loan, and then you owe us, kind of a thing.
Great.
And so, having that government-backed guarantor.
That's awesome.
Was kind of the ace in the hole, and they'd never done it before, and so it's like the first time they're ever going to be able to do this, and they're going to utilize that, and so it actually was kind of what pushed us over the edge, where they were like, okay, we can do that.
That's really cool. That's exciting.
It was super exciting
to hear that we can do it.
Right. Because we've been told no so many times, and I did want to kind of throw out there. Up to this point, like I said, we had been funding everything just out of our own pockets, right? And so we sold our cars. We had some equity in our vehicles. We sold our cars, and we were literally walking around for 6 months.
Well, we pulled out our 401ks too.
Yeah, we pulled out our 401ks. Wow. Yeah. So for people out there that are wanting to try to get into a business or wanting to entrepreneur, don't take no as the answer. Go find somebody else. They'll tell you no. Go find somebody else. They'll tell you no. Right? You can be told no 100 times, but all it takes is one yes. That's all. That's all you need is the one yes. Yeah. But you need to be willing to sacrifice not just your time and your energy, but there are other things you're going to have to sacrifice as well. Yeah. And those that are around you are going to have to sacrifice. Our wives have picked up so much on the back end. Sure. Yeah. Why we've been doing this, because we're still working our full-time jobs, and trying to get the business and stuff going as well. So we're working 40 hours at this job, and then we're working 40 hours with Extreme Rush. I mean, we're putting in 80 hours a week, and so it's not just us that are sacrificing. There's people all around you, and that support group needs to be there, and you need to be willing to sacrifice and give up those things that you value. Give up your cars, give up your retirement. To be able to make a dream happen, it takes sacrifice first before the dream can become a reality after. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. A lot of sacrifice, for sure. But it'll be a big dream. It's cool.
Yeah. Right. In a situation like that, where you guys spent your money to get it started, now you have the loan, is there any part of that loan that it was like meant to be to pay you guys to help get through these next few years, or is all that money just strictly into the business? Like, you guys are just still supporting yourself. Yeah. None of that can be used in any way for support.
No.
Yeah, we have.
Makes sense. I just didn't know if there was some way to kind of like give that help.
We've got startup section in there. So it's like, okay, what's it going to take per month to keep us going? And we have about 6 months of operating capital that we'll have that's built into that, and up into like building the building and having the building open. But once the building opens, then it's all the promissory notes are due and the IOUs are due, and we have to start paying all of that. But our bank has given us, I think, like a 3 or 6 month,
that's good.
They've given us a 6 month interest only to try to help us for the first 6 months once we're open.
Interest only.
Man, hopefully the day you open, people just flood in, because it's going to be such a
it'll be a cool thing. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, well, for all of you that are watching this podcast, come and support us, right? Keep us open, because I don't want to sell a car again.
They need to keep their cars.
No, you're good. But we were actually talking about this on the way up. We're just local guys. Like, I was a teacher at Highland for 18 years. He's a manager at Home Depot. Like, he's done stuff with T-Mobile, and he's been management and stuff there. Like, so it's not a franchisee. We're not trying to bring in a franchise and say, hey, help support a franchise. Like, we're local guys that love our valley and our community, and we want to give back to our community.
For sure.
We want to make this something that is known by Southeast Idaho, and that Southeast Idaho can be proud of.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to give to that community, and we want the community to be able to give back. And so we want this to be a relationship that we build with everybody that we come in contact with.
Yeah.
It means more to us than just a building with some go-karts in it.
For sure.
Yeah, you're putting your lives on the line for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And not that that's the reason why people need to come support you just because you did that, but it's like.
But it's a cool thing to go and support. Like, we went to college at ISU.
There's nothing.
It's a town.
There's
nothing to do. And so just having something indoors, like you've said, like, this is the prime thing that is necessary.
The closest thing I maybe went to like a fast go-kart was Fast Lane in Boise. They have one. But I mean, you just race one lap or one race and then you're done. And it's just kind of like, I think what you're doing with the whole environment is really cool to have everything else that you're talking about. It's not just like Fast Lane is just
It's not just one thing.
Well, we got a lot of that from Disney. So one of the big things that we got from Disney was you need to create an experience for a guest as opposed to just some place where you can go and play and go home.
For sure.
You need to have a reason for them to hang out and be there, and then to have a reason for them to come back. That's why Disney World does so well. I've been to Disney World 4 times. 4 times. It's the exact same rides. I went back. It's the same Peter Pan ride. It's there.
But how much of your time is actually spent on the ride?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hanging out.
It's spent at Disney. It's that experience that you're getting. And so that's what we wanted to create, was an experience for somebody to be able to come. And that's where Rush was born. Rush was born in IAPA while we were in our hotel room. And we're like, how do we create an experience out of this? Well, let's create a mascot. That's what Disney does, right? They have Mickey Mouse.
You want to put
right? Yeah.
Yeah, we put right there.
Oh, yeah, you're locked in there. You need to have an identity, a brand.
Right. So that's Rush.
Hello, Rush.
Right. That's what, at least his head.
Rush's head.
So Rush is an adrenaline-seeking sloth. That's the idea, right? So we wanted something that was ironic, something that people could connect to. We know that people love sloths, and sloths are typically super slow.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of opposite.
Opposite of that, right? And so here we are, we're a go-kart company, right? We're gonna have these super fast go-karts. We're gonna be high technology. Everything's gonna be like to the wall crazy. And we have a sloth as our mascot.
I like it.
Okay, so we've got Rush, and we create him in a hotel room in IAPA. When we get back, you had a good friend of yours.
Yeah. So I've got a few friends that do web comics, and over the years I've seen them. I've seen their drawings, and it kind of just started as like a.
You can put them on if you want to.
Yeah, put them on.
Go ahead and keep going on. Where did he come from?
So I actually, when we were in Orlando, I typed into
Heck yeah.
That's legit.
Some of those,
I like it.
Dude, and he just throws the arm around the lady. Do you see that, guys? So if you want to pick up a date, go grab a Rush head. You're ready to go.
Nice.
Can you hear me through this?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah?
So good.
I feel like I should do the
Sounds
rest
so
of it in
good.
this.
Probably should.
Biggest muffles. I cannot. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Okay.
So we actually were. I can't remember Dolly, one of those image generating AIs.
Okay.
We put kind of the description of what we were looking for into the AI, and it generated a couple ideas. None of them were great, but we found one that I'm like, oh, I like this basic idea. So then I took it to my friend who's an artist, and I said, hey, this is kind of what we're looking for. He gave us a few different iterations, just some quick SketchUps, and then he ended up getting us a 2D model. He ended up getting us a 3D model.
Wow.
And
for your mascot, that's awesome.
For the mascot. And so since then, we've when he was at the school, we had some students draw some fan art of the Rush.
Cute.
Super cool.
Okay.
We've got the mascot. We've got a bunch of other things that kind of incorporate Rush as the mascot, and it's really cool how
we
it's
started building a brand book. Like we wanted our colors to be a certain way. We wanted our logo to be a certain way. We wanted to have a brand.
Yeah, we want it to be very recognizable. You want it to be, you see Mickey Mouse and instantly you know
who it is.
That's Disney. That's Mickey Mouse. And we wanted both with the logo that I created and Rush, we wanted people to be able to see that and instantly think, okay, that's Extreme Rush, or I know what that's from.
Yeah,
they know what it is.
Well, and it's cool hearing the stories around town, not even just from us, but like stories that just kind of get to us from other people. It's like they don't necessarily know what Extreme Rush is, but if you show them the logo, they're like, oh yeah, I know that. I know that.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Is that the go-kart place or whatever? Yeah, people see it and they're like, oh, yeah.
And we're not even open yet.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your marketing right.
Right.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Hannah. Good job.
Yeah, we have I was working with this person. Her name's Hannah. She was one of my head cashiers, and I knew she was going to school for social media marketing. And I was like, hey, I know you're going to school for it, but is this something you'd want to kind of dabble in on the side? And so we kind of brought her on, and she's been doing all our social media for us.
That's awesome.
And doing she revamped our website. Sheldon already put together a pretty good website.
I designed it. I just don't know. I don't know anything about websites.
And so she transferred it over from GoDaddy to what was it?
Wix.
To Wix. And I guess Wix has a lot more functionality to it. And so she put a whole bunch of new cool stuff on there. And so
That's fun though.
but we've got, I don't know, coming on 2,000 followers
Already.
Nice. And you're not even open
I know,
yet.
we're
So
not
you
even
had your
open.
groundbreaking. That was like a few weeks ago.
Yep. Right at the end of October.
So you found your place to fill in that gap. So
That
you found
was-
a location.
That was actually really cool.
That was
That was a
miracle.
cool story. Yeah, you got to tell that story.
Miracle.
Yeah, we were,
Miracle.
we had found, we had decided on Convergys. We were working on, still finding the building. We decided on, okay, we're going to go into the old Convergys in Old Town, Pocatello. And we had our
Convergys at the
reservations.
call center.
Yeah.
And it was not big enough.
Yeah.
But
It was about 45,000, 50,000 square feet, but we could make it work.
It was kind of like there's nothing else and we need to get this going. And
It's like, we have the loan. We need to get this going. Like, we have to go somewhere. We don't have anywhere. Like, we already have all this money. We need to get this going. And people are going to start being like, well, what's going on? Like, we have to have a building. And some of our investors were like, have to have a building.
Yep.
Like, where's your building? Like, I'm not going to give you money unless you have a building.
Oh,
So-
no.
for sure.
Where's your
And so, we
we were feeling a lot of
decided
pressure.
on Convergys, felt good about it. And then we're there. We're actually about to sign on the lease. We had the letter of intent. We were about to sign the lease, and we were about to just.
We were signing in 24 hours.
Yeah, it was like that week, and it was. So we were going to sign on Friday, and we got an email on Monday from this guy called Josh Ellis, and he had heard about us from one of his daughter, who was one of Jason's students, because Jason had been talking about it up at Highland.
My students have been awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
good connections, I'm sure.
and he actually reached out to Outer Limits first, and he wanted her to come next to him because he's building pickleball courts in Pocatello, like indoor pickleball courts.
He wanted Outer Limits.
He wanted Outer Limits to move and come next to him because he has to, in order for him to get that land.
It's like so different from you.
I know.
It's just
I know.
like kind of, if they're listening, I don't want to say anything.
Not in a bad way. It's just it's different.
No, it's different.
It's just older. It's
Right.
just-
They're built.
old.
They're built for
They're
the
older.
younger demographic.
Sure.
Right. But the younger kids and stuff, I think, have a blast there. But like my high schoolers go. There's nothing at Outer Limits for me to do.
They're done that.
And that's why we're coming in. But anyway.
Right. And he messaged her first and actually wanted her to come over with him. And she didn't respond, didn't say anything, nothing. And so he's like, well, let's go with the new kid in town. And so he reached out to us, and it was just so happened to be the week that we were going to sign our lease at Convergys. And he says, hold up, have you signed anything yet? And we're like, no, not yet. He's like, well, let's have a meeting. Let's talk. I want to run this by you. And so we ended up meeting over with him at the site, and he kind of had his very, small sketch plan of what he wanted to do. And he's like, and you guys would be over here. And I'm like, that's great and everything. Like, we would love to have a building right next to you. But the problem is we can't do all our attractions and the building. We can't
As a startup, the bank wouldn't give us the funding for the building.
There's no way.
Building a building.
No way.
Yeah, we're like, the only way this happens is if somebody builds the building for us. And he was like, okay.
It's like done.
I'm like, I'll build the building for you.
And we're like, what?
Our jaws just hit the ground. We're like,
Oh, hold up.
excuse me?
No, say that again.
What?
Yeah. So,
He's like, yeah, I'll just build it for
so
you.
we're like, oh my gosh.
I'm actually tearing up a little bit.
That's crazy.
So then we're like, okay, well, now what do we do?
unbelievable.
We've got this huge,
Unbelievable.
Are you
this
paying
huge
him to
conundrum.
build your part at all? He's just
He's building the building.
He's
building the building.
He's building the
Wow.
building. Him and his partner. I don't know
That's
if he wants to be
amazing.
known, but
Yeah.
him and his business partner, they believe in us as well, and they're like, we want you to come in.
wow.
And so
That's cool.
And so we were like, okay. So obviously we kind of cut him into our business, and we kind of helped him out on that side, so it's not as much risk for him as well.
Sure.
But I mean, just for them to come out and be like, yeah, we want you to come in here. We're gonna build this building to you to suite like what you need
Unbelievable.
is what it's gonna be. And
That's
we're like,
ideal. That's amazing.
and it's right off the freeway.
Yeah.
And we'll have visibility from the
location.
freeway. It's a good location. It's
Yeah.
so much different than when we were in Old Town. Like,
Oh my God.
That's
like that would
Night
have
and
been
day.
a nightmare.
that that could have been the reason it didn't work.
Right.
Very
At the end of the
much.
day.
Right. And
Honestly, like,
we didn't
That's
want
a
to
good
go that
point.
close to Outer Limits either.
Yeah.
And Outer Limits is like half a mile away.
and Old Town isn't that convenient to get to off the highway. You're not going to get bypassing people at all. Just being
That's
like,
correct.
oh, what's that? You have to go into Old Town.
Right.
And where we wanted this to be a destination, we needed a place that was
Easy.
convenient and easy.
Yeah. Well, and Pocatello is not a huge touristy town, but we do get people coming in,
Passing through.
and we want people to be able to drive by and see, oh, hey, what's that? Let's go check it out.
For sure.
Old Town, you got to pull up Google Maps. You got to figure
Yeah.
out where
one-way
you're going.
streets.
Right. Yeah. The one-way streets. This
parking
new
would have been-
location.
Yeah, what would you have done for parking in Old Town?
There's a
Nightmare.
parking
Build a
lot that was like
structure.
across the street. That was still part of it. So like they had to park across the street and then
Yeah.
walk across. It was this.
And
whole
we're like,
thing.
do we need crosswalks? Do we need a light there? Like, I talked to my brother who works in the Pocatello, like, building development. And he's like, yeah, in order to do that, we got to do all these surveys. We got to do all these tests. It's like $2 million just to put in a light. I'm like, just a light? That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
Yeah.
so getting this new location was hands down exactly what we were looking for.
Wow.
So Josh, you were an answer to a prayer, man.
For sure.
Literally. So when is the building going to be done?
Oh, that's a touchy subject.
That's a good question. So we were set to start breaking ground and stuff back in July, but the ground that's there is part of the city of Chubbuck, and it's a redevelopment. And so because the ground isn't just straight up owned by somebody and it's done through the city, we have to go through all of the city benchmarks to be able to get there. That's what's been taking so long. So all of you who love Extreme Rush, we'll be open. We promise. Be patient.
We're working very hard to
We're
get
working
there.
so hard.
Oh, man.
And so a lot of it's been, to the city and then back to the state of Idaho, and then back to the city and then back to Josh Ellis and then back to the city and then back to the state. And so it's been a long process because it's government involvement, but it's going to be worth it when we're all done. So, be patient for a year
There's like
to be able to have what we need.
26 easements on the property that they had to do.
Right.
And there was only 2 people in the entire state that could do our appraisal. Because of how it's set up, how it's owned by the state. Like there's only 2 people in the state that
In the entire
annoying.
state.
Wow.
And they're obviously on the opposite side of
Yeah,
the
one's
state
up in
from where
Coeur
we
d'Alene
are.
and one's up in Boise.
And are they just so busy and that's why they can't?
Yeah, well, yeah, because they're covering everything for the entire state of Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do they base where they go off of value, like knowing how much value
just-
Extreme Rush
just
is going
order.
to provide in jobs? And
It's
in
just
line?
order.
It's
It's just
yeah,
line.
they just
Who's
put
in
us
line?
in a queue, and
come
we
first
and,
serve.
we tried to get us moved up, or if there was a rush fee or anything like that, rush fee.
yeah, an Extreme Rush fee.
That was pretty good. Do you want to wear the?
Put the mascot back on.
Every time we say rush, he has to put the head on.
That's right, $20.
That's funny.
No, but just getting the appraisal back. We finally got the appraisal back, and now we're going to get our preliminary plat this month, and then
On the
for a
13th.
final plat in January, and then we can
What's a
start.
plat?
It's basically
It's how they assign the ground itself. So different pieces of ground can only be built on in a certain fashion. So commercial versus residential versus
Industrial,
business,
yeah.
industrial. So there's all sorts of different certifications that have to pass the ground. But those certifications, like if you want to be industrial, you have to be a certain amount of feet away from a residential. So that you don't have these big trucks going through neighborhoods and stuff like that. So there's all of these plats and easements that have to be redesigned and redone.
Well, because that
to
land
be
used
able
to
to
be
go through that.
residential.
Yeah, it used to be
There's
residential.
a lot of residences
Yeah.
in that
Right.
region.
they'll have to take the power lines down, put them underground. They'll have to do all the replumb all the sewage. They'll have to bring in fiber and
They'll have to
power
do
and
that
stuff
for
like
all
that.
this project.
Yep.
Well, that'll be nice. It'll make the area look prettier.
Yeah.
That's
Get rid
true.
of all of the.
Very well.
That's true.
It'll make it
Well, in
prettier.
the city of Chubbuck themselves, they're wanting to build what they call the Chubbuck Village right there. So that whole entire area is going to become entertainment and commercial.
It's exciting.
And-
It's really exciting.
And so we're just super excited to be
Yeah.
able to be in there as a staple of what they're wanting to do.
For sure.
And they're going to be able to build around us.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Kind of just like ensures your longevity there,
For sure.
Yeah.
at least more than in a random one-off spot might be.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Now you're part of like a bigger thing, even more than what you're doing, which is huge.
Right.
And it's really cool working with Josh because he said, he's setting it up to where, 3 to 5 years down the road, we can kind of take back that loan back over and we can then at that point we'd own the building. And so that's
Cool.
going to be really cool. And then we can start, kind of branching out, because we want it, like the dream eventually is to get it to where it's franchisable.
Cool.
And then people can start, plopping them down wherever.
So our goal is to have 3 buildings within the first 5 years.
Oh, damn.
So we're wanting to open up a building in Logan. We'd like to put one here in Idaho Falls.
That would be nice.
And then we'd like to put one up in Twin. So
you'd have 4 total.
We'd have 4
Oh my
total. Yeah. So to
goodness.
open 3 more buildings, that's kind of the goal.
Right.
Wow.
And then from there, our 10-year plan is we would like to then be in Salt Lake. We've got some connections with a couple of people over in Omaha, Nebraska. When we would open up over in Omaha and then kind of spider out from Omaha.
Wow.
And then move in different directions. So we're hoping within the next 10 to 15 years that Extreme Rush becomes, like Sidney was, it's a brand.
Yeah.
It
Like
becomes
Like the Top Golf, but
Right.
for
Yes,
go-karts.
absolutely.
It's going to
There you
overtake
go.
Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
There
Hopefully.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Dave
dream.
and Buster's just has arcades.
I know. I'd go to Extreme Rush over Dave & Buster's.
Oh, for sure.
But the thing is, people know Dave & Buster's.
Yes, but
Like,
why?
It's a name.
But why?
Right.
Because of where they're located.
Yes.
Right. And they've got so many different buildings and there's so much there. And they create an experience
They're
for
always in
people
bigger
that they
cities
want to be able to come back to.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to
Well,
build.
yeah, and we know that we're buying people's time. Like, we know the longer they stay there, the more they're going to want to do.
Yeah.
And so, and that's why family entertainment centers have been getting so big. They're expected to their CAGR is supposed to, basically how much they're making in a year is supposed to double by 2028.
Yeah.
So last year, 2020, the CAGR of family entertainment centers was like 23 billion.
$23 billion.
And by the end of 2028, it's going to be up there like $48 billion.
Yeah. Wow.
And so we're trying to jump in before it gets
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Well, and entertainment centers over COVID was one of the very few industries that grew.
Yeah, really interesting.
A lot of things
Interesting.
kind of crashed during that time, and entertainment boomed.
It seems like an industry for a lot of growth too. Like it maybe went through a period where nothing really changed. It was just like the Dave and Buster's
Sure.
and the same games, but it's different places. Like Chuck E. Cheese for kids, like just the same kind of a center.
Right.
But this sounds
Well, and I think
a lot more modern.
I think people and the type of world that we live in is so much faster paced than it used to be.
Oh, yeah, now.
People want it now, and I need to go here and I need to get it done.
Yeah.
So like 20 years ago, we would have been fine going down and doing just a go-kart and then hopping in the car and then going down and doing paintball.
Sure.
And then after that, get in the car and then go to Arby's. And then after that, right, and traveling, it was the norm.
Yeah.
But right now, everything that we live in is we want it all in one place.
Yeah, and that takes too much time.
And we want it right here.
Yeah.
And so our goal was, yes, go-karts are going to be our anchor, but we're also bringing in Gel Blaster, which again is super high technology, super unique. We're going to be bringing in
So excited about Gel Blaster.
live game shows. We have a live game show that they have right now over in Times Square in New York City.
Cool.
And we're going to be able to bring that game show from New York into Idaho.
Yeah.
And people are going to be able to play with a host.
That would be so cool.
And be able to interact
Yeah.
on this big, huge, semi-truck sized LED TV screen.
Yeah.
And they're going to be playing in competitions with each other
That'd be so
and having
cool.
fun. And the arcades that we're bringing in, yes, they're arcades, but the arcades are all top end technology.
Yeah.
So we've got stuff coming in where the arcade is VR. As you're in the arcade, but then it has motion and it has fans that'll blow wind at you, and it's got water, and so again, and it moves. So again, are we a family entertainment center? The answer is yes, but we're trying to touch into that technology side where we're trying to bring in the most cutting edge stuff from not just here, even in Idaho, but around the world.
Yeah.
We're bringing in stuff from the UK and from Italy. We've got stuff coming in from China. Our manufacturer for Rush was in Canada.
Yeah.
They do all of the mascots for the college football teams.
Oh, cool.
Right. So I mean, we're trying to bring all of this in to give people that wow factor and that wow experience to be able to have that technology.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you're cutting any corners.
We're trying not to.
We're trying not to, because that's kind of what a lot of people like, and that's what I kind of have been telling, and we're trying to do when we're creating this concept is we don't want to cut corners. We want to do things the right way. We want to do it the way that it needs to. We want to spend the time and the effort to know what it is we're doing and bringing it in so that we have the best products that we can bring. And we're also trying to incorporate local people as well, so that we can keep the business local.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of reached out to you guys when I knew you guys were doing photography. I'm like, oh, we need a photographer. I was like, oh, I know Sarah.
Thank you.
I know Sarah, and then we're doing their thing. Let me message him and find out.
Yeah.
And we have the Laser Mama
Out of Blackfoot.
and we've got Ashton Burr up in Pocatello.
We have Ben Miller.
And we got Ben, and so we're trying to bring in and all of our investors are local, and they all have local businesses, and
Cool.
And so we're just trying to keep everything as local as possible when it comes to bringing people in, so that people know that we're homegrown and we have these connections here, and we're trying to involve the community in that respect. So
Sure.
But I do have to say, one of the coolest things that I think we're going to have is going to be our hologram of Rush.
Wow.
So we are working with a company called HyperVSN or Hypervision. Right now, they're the top 3 in the world in hologram.
I think they were just on the Kardashians episode
They were
the other day.
Yes,
I
they
just
were.
watched that episode.
They were. They were also the people who were
That's so
hired
funny.
to go into the Sphere in Vegas.
Okay.
So all of the hologram and stuff that you see and experience in the Sphere in Las Vegas, those are the people who are doing our holograms for
That's
us
like
in
legit.
Extreme
Oh,
Rush. So it's like legit high-end people.
Yeah.
And so when you walk in, the very first thing you're going to see when you walk in the front door is you're going to see an 8-foot hologram of Rush.
Oh my goodness.
And
Like all the way around?
yeah, you can walk all the way
He'll be,
around him.
It'll be there's 3 fans, and the
cool.
fans spin, and they make this big 3-foot by 6-foot hologram.
Yeah.
But the way that they spin and the way that the lights light up, it looks like he's floating there, and he'll be behind a glass box. We'll have a directional speaker that's actually focused like a spotlight, but the sound is focused right in front of him. So no matter how loud it is around you, you can hear him talking to you.
Interesting.
And you can in the Sphere too.
Yeah, and you'll be able to interact with Rush. You're going to be able to ask him questions.
Wow.
And he's going to be able to talk with you. There's some programs and stuff that they're putting together for it.
Interesting.
He'll be animated as well. So he's going to be moving. When
This
we
is so
when we
high-tech.
saw
I know, I
it,
can't wait to see
dude,
this.
when we saw it, our mind was blown. We're like,
Literally.
is this like Star Trek? What the frick is
It
this?
is. You're talking about,
this
like,
is
Star Wars
crazy.
stuff.
Like we see this in movies.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to actually go and experience it. And so the experience that we're trying to make with
That's
Extreme
cool.
Rush again isn't just go-kart.
Yeah.
It's everything's going to be built around Rush. You're going to be coming into Rush's home to play. So the environment that we're going to create is going to be more kind of rainforest. So when you come in the door, you're not just coming into a building to drop some money and go home.
Yeah.
You're coming in to go and play with Rush. When you go in and do the debriefings for the go-karts, it's going to be Rush that's in the briefing rooms, and he's going to be telling you the rules for the go-kart track.
Cute.
When you go and do an escape room, or if you're doing anything with Gel Blaster, it's all going to be Rush. The escape rooms that we have are customizable, where you're going to be helping Rush solve a problem. And he's going to be in the escape room kind of with you, going through that experience.
Interesting.
So it just, there's so much more to what we're doing, again, than just a building
yeah.
with, with some
elaborate.
rides and go home.
We're tying in the brand to all of it.
Absolutely.
It's a huge
And
brand.
Rush is the anchor to everything that we're doing.
No kidding.
Yeah, we want them to leave. No, because a lot of people, you can go places and you can be like, oh man, I just dropped $100, so I just dropped $200.
Right.
But
And
we
you're
want
like,
for real.
Yeah, we want them to come in and be like, oh man, we're spending a lot of money, but that was worth
worth
it. That was totally worth it. And
So I was going to say, speaking of price points, you aren't open yet, but have you guys thought about what the price point's going to be like for our entry to get in here?
Yeah. Again, it's just,
we've gone back and forth.
It's like kind of up in the air a little
yeah.
bit.
To play with it.
Yeah.
Is it a card type situation?
Yeah, so this is super cool too. So
Yeah.
technology. So the card system that we're going to have, you can use a card. The cards will all be tap, so you'll be able to tap on your stuff as you're going around. But the company that we're working with, they're called is Embed, 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 and they actually have a system where it's cardless, meaning we can actually connect all of your accounts to your Google Wallet or your Apple Wallet.
Yeah.
And so when you go up to the arcade to play, you can actually load everything on your phone and pay for everything on your phone. And then you tap your phone to the arcade. And that's how you play your games.
Yeah.
You can also sign up for all of your go-kart stuff and all of your attractions. You can sign up for all of your food on your phone at home before you even come in.
Like order it, pre-book it.
Yep. So you
like,
can say,
do
I'm
all
going to
that
be on
stuff.
go-karts at 7 o'clock. I want to eat at 8 o'clock, and then I'm going to play Gel Blaster at 9 o'clock.
That's actually
and
really
you can
nice.
put everything in there right from your phone. So when you get to the center, you don't have to sit there and wait in a line.
Yeah.
Whether it's a line to go purchase your tickets or whether it's a line to go to the attraction, because you already know what time you're going to your attraction.
And it's all cloud-based.
You just show up.
So like it's all cloud-based technology. So even inside of the facility, there's not going to be a whole bunch of wires and stuff we're going to have to run everywhere because everything's going to go through our wireless system.
Wow.
And so when people, book a go-kart race at 6, it blacks it out, in the building as well. They can say, okay, the Davises are coming in with 8 people. They're going to fill up this race. And so it'll black out that time slot and then it'll go to the next one and then go to the next one. And so it'll be really nice. It'll really help the flow. I've been in restaurants, most of my life. And so I have a lot of, operational background when it comes to restaurants. And so we picked a company that can do kind of the amusement side of it and they can handle the kitchen side of it just as seamlessly. So it'll be like 5, 6 different systems, but the way that they can talk to each other, it's going to seem like one system.
Just one to the guest.
Especially
really
because food's important too, like making sure like that whole part of the experience.
Oh, and our extreme menu is going to be legit.
Yeah.
So
what's on it?
So we're bringing in authentic Belgian waffles from Belgium.
Okay.
So they'll be shipped in.
Okay.
It's called Les Waffles, and they are the most fantastic waffles you will eat in your life.
Interesting.
I don't rave about things, but those waffles.
Unbelievable.
Was this kind of stuff at the convention
It was at
too?
Idaho.
We were just walking by and we're like, oh, let's try this.
For example, whatever.
We're like, hold on just a second. Go back, try this again.
What just happened in my mouth?
It was so good. We were like going and getting a sample, taking a lap around the block. Oh, I'll have one of those. Another sample. Spend an hour. There's like another one, please. Another one.
They have these sugar crystals that are only made
In Belgium.
And they're like these little flavor crystals that just like explode in your mouth when you bite into them.
They caramelize. Oh my gosh.
Super good. So anyways, we're
Do you want to go to Belgium?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish you brought samples of those today.
We should have.
Oh, we have some too.
We do.
We should have cooked them up.
We did.
Part 2.
Part 2 next week. Yeah.
Next week,
With
he
breakfast.
says. We'll be here at 8 a.m.
No, Les Waffles is really good. And a lot of people are actually doing the Belgian style waffles. We've seen them kind of starting to pop up everywhere. Like I think Jamba has them. A couple of like the.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Just fluffier, thicker?
They're
thicker, fluffier.
Yeah, they're.
I guess it's
they're
the
like
style.
packaged individually, but ours are going to be hot, like right off of.
And they're gonna be
griddle.
fresh.
They're going to be fresh,
Cool.
like made to order.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. And then we're going to have our extreme pizza. So we'll have a pizza slice that's about 14 inches.
I love it.
So it'll be
Nice.
about that big, and it'll just be a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
So it'll be an extreme pizza.
That's great.
Right. So we're going to have like an extreme menu. We'll have extreme pizza. We'll have extreme fries. So you can order like a whole entire big bucket of fries that you can share with everybody. We'll have our extreme burger. Right. So again, we're trying to build into that extreme brand for Rush. Right.
Yeah.
When Rush does something, he does it to the extreme.
And is it kind of planned to where the restaurant is like people will go to these restaurants just for the food and not come for the entertainment too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the big talking points. Is everyone says, "Is the food going to be good as outer limits?"
That's a key point.
Is the food going to be good as outer limits? And I'm like, well, I hope so. I'm like, I've done food a lot,
Spent
and
a lot of money to make sure.
I'm going to do it the way that I know how to do it. And everyone says that when I cook, it tastes pretty good. So I'm hoping to be able to kind of carry that over and make sure that.
Well, and we have our specialized chef up in Boise as well, who's assigned to just us.
Is he going to come in and like work with you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll create the menu. We'll work with them. They'll go to their commercial kitchen and they'll kind of cook all of our ideas for us, and they can try them out and try different blends and stuff like that. So
it's like Gordon Ramsay coming into your kitchen and like giving you your like menu.
yeah, for sure.
That's burnt.
We're working with a company out of Idaho Falls called BSNR, and they're the ones that are doing our kitchen design for us.
Wow, that's cool.
And so they're kind of like figuring out how the kitchen's going to be laid out, what's going to make the most sense, where's the hand washing sink's going to be, where's the
logistics,
the fryers are going to be, and so we've got that pretty much dialed in. We've got the building pretty much dialed in where everything's going to go, and so we're just waiting now. It's like January can't come fast enough.
One of the other things I wanted to touch on real quick was we are going to have a founder's wall within our facility. So it'll be a big, huge wall that's going to be dedicated to just people who have helped us on our journey.
Right.
Cool. So there's different levels on the founder's wall. There's the investor, right, level or whatnot if you want to invest. But so we have like a platinum tier and a gold tier and a silver tier. We're going to have name plaques. So people can invest on our website if they would like to invest with us to be on the founders wall. And so it's going to be super cool to be able to see all of these founders and stuff on the wall and to be able to see that.
And I was saying that the other day, I was like, should we do some film garage breaks or
right? Yeah, for real. Yeah, and then and we're also going to be doing gift cards for Christmas. So I know we're not open yet, but we know it's something that's coming, and we know a lot of people have been requesting gift cards from us, and so we're going to be offering you guys get the scoop. This is the first time that we're putting it out there, right? So, but we're going to be doing $100 for $75.
Okay.
Cool.
On the gift cards.
That's a good deal.
Yep. So if you know you're going to be coming, like take advantage of the special while we've got it during Christmas. Right. Hold on to it. And then once we're open, you'll be able to take advantage of that. Or if you want to be on that founder's wall itself, go visit the website, hop on there, because that's something that's going to be on there forever. And it'd be super cool, 10, 20 years down the road when, you're taking your kids or your grandkids there and you're like, hey, check this out. I was part of something that was super cool like this.
Is that like a minimum donation type thing?
Yeah. But the minimums are super cheap.
Tiers.
Yeah. What is it, like
$100?
I think the cheapest one's 50.
50, 100,
I think it's 50, 100, and 200. So it's like,
let's get our name on that wall.
Yeah. Well, and there's been so many people that have really, really helped and believed in us that, we want to be able to recognize them. It's hard to say, every single person that's helped us out. But there's perks that come along with those too. So they'll get like so if you're a platinum tier where you spent like $200 on it, you'll get a 1-year membership.
Right, I did.
On there, you'll get a free T-shirt. You're going to get a discount card. So there's all sorts of there's perks and stuff that we want to give back to you as well. Again, our goal isn't just to take. Our goal is to give
for sure
and be able to help our community
contribute. For sure.
I did want to backtrack just a quick on because you were asking about pricing.
Yes,
and I know we've had a ton of people asking us about pricing. Their biggest concern has been this is going to be such a big, huge facility, and you're bringing in all of this cool stuff from around the world. That means it's going to be super expensive, and only the elite are going to be able to come here. And the answer to that is no. As local boys here, we want to be able to make it affordable
for sure
to the public. Most of the go-kart tracks and stuff that are around are running anywhere from $30 to $40 for one race. We're going to be at $20
a race
on a race. Like
bundles.
Yeah, and but the bundles are going to be so you can bundle like 5 races together, for like $60, or you can bundle 2 attractions with a go-kart and something else for $30.
Sure.
And then we're going to have those, and we'll have family memberships as well. So if it's a family that they know they're coming, they're going to get a ton of perks and stuff back if they have that membership card with them. All of our other attractions, our smaller attractions, are only going to be like $9.95. So we're trying to keep things super low key. And we want things to be as affordable as possible because we want everyone to be able to come and experience this with us.
For sure. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, well, how are you going to keep it fresh? How are you going to keep it fresh? What are you going to do? And so we already have plans to bring in an attraction a year for the first couple of years. And because we can't bring in everything that we want to start. We're going to have the core and everything, but then we're going to start adding stuff on. Like we want to bring in a zip line.
That's fun.
And
indoors zip line.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Indoors. And these zip lines are super cool because like it's not like a start A, start end B. It's a start A, end A. So it's a loop.
And it actually twists and turns and goes up and down on the zip line.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, and we've got a nonverbal clause. I can't talk about gel blasters, but what gel blasters are going to be doing in the next couple of years. They've been working on it for like 3 years. Okay. And when we're going to roll out with their beta. And so when we roll out the beta, just think video games meets real life.
So like this looks like
when you shoot it, what does it explode?
It looks like an airsoft gun or like a.
So
you can grab it.
So these are basically
there's
Orbeez.
a switch on the bottom. Just turn it on. Turn it on.
So those are Orbeez, and basically
shoot at the wall.
Yeah, wherever you want.
That's so cool. You try.
And this is basically
fun.
Like this is their intro technology.
It's pretty good at aiming actually.
They've got Those are like glow in the dark tracers, so you can
That's so
actually
fun.
see them in the dark when you have black light.
Yeah, so
and
it'll
stuff
be
like
black light arena.
So you just see the like,
dude, it's so cool.
It's fun.
And the technology that they've created with this, it's hands down the
Unbelievable.
craziest thing.
This is the consumer model.
Right.
I'm just smiling right now after shooting that.
You
That was
can
so
buy that
fun.
at Walmart.
Really?
Yeah. And so we had this set up, an arena set up for 4th of July. We had an arena set up for Chubbuck Days.
Is it gonna hurt?
Oh god.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
Like really, really bad.
Okay, I feel like you. Oh, okay, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, right. What'd you think?
Yeah, it just felt like a flick.
It sounds like somebody's like just flicking you really hard.
Yeah.
So it's like it's enough that you're gonna feel it.
It's fun.
But it's not like paintball where you go, oh
that-
my gosh,
That
I'm gonna
was
die.
nothing like a paintball or airsoft at all.
Right.
At all.
Yep.
It'd more just be like if you got hit, like
Okay.
it would be annoying if someone just kept shooting you. Be like, God, stop it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you wouldn't be like
Right.
in pain. Like,
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like someone following you, just pinching you a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Literally.
Right. If you do it a couple times, it's fine. But when you're like, oh my gosh, did you stop pinching me?
yeah.
Literally.
But you're not going to be like crying or anything.
But
if you
Joe
do it
Blaster,
with that.
they're putting like $4 to $5 million in advertising this coming year for the new next generation of Joe
fun.
Blaster that they're sending out there.
Yep.
And we're gonna open with it in our facility, and it's gonna
be legit.
Legit.
Yeah.
Like
It's going to be
way
nationwide.
There's
only gonna
It'll
be-
become a national.
There's only going to be like 200 places that open with it, and we're
Within the entire United
we're one of the
States.
200.
Wow.
And so a lot of their advertising is going to push people kind of into our facility.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking big scale. They're thinking like, you know how gaming has the
Leaderboards.
MLG and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, they're thinking
This is gonna have
They're
leaderboards.
thinking big like that, like
That's
global
cool.
leaderboards, global tournaments.
And then that helps just bring more people into your space too if they're like pushing this all over. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
what they're
super
doing with
excited
this,
about
like,
that.
You got to be careful.
is just so.
Because we have an NDA that we signed.
Right. No. But what they're doing with this is one of those things that, because we saw these guys last year and they had an inflatable and we shot it. We're like, that was fun. This year, it was like everything that they did was stuff that I didn't even think was possible.
It was
And
on
they
steroids.
told us what they
Unbelievable.
were doing. And I'm like, but how? Like,
Yeah.
I understand technology for the most part, but like, how are you making this do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, magic? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And
And then they
it's
start
just,
telling you
whoa.
about it, and you're like, oh. And they've got patents on this stuff to where they can only do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's legit.
That's cool.
It
I
is
want to
so
see
cool.
all that. That's fun.
So this will be also in your facility.
Yeah, so this will be one. Yeah, so Rush obviously is our anchor, and then Go-Kart and Gel Blaster. Those will be the
Go-kart
three
and
things
Gel
that people will
Blasters.
know about Extreme Rush.
Yeah.
Everything else will kind of come and go. It'll change as technology advances. We'll be able to take things out, put things back in.
Yeah.
Again, as Sidney said earlier, like we want to keep it fresh,
Yeah.
and we want to keep bringing these cool things into Pocatello. We don't want to just have it be like, yeah, this is all the cool stuff back 40 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you
right?
put gel blasters on the go-karts?
We've talked about that.
So after
Combining
hours,
it.
it's
a
no
few
holds
years in,
barred.
maybe.
Yeah. No, they actually have the technology to do something similar, but you're not actually shooting each other. It's called battle carts. And so you can actually have like power ups in the track where you can actually shoot things at people and slow them down.
Like Mario.
It is.
Yeah.
It feels like Mario Kart.
Sounds
Yeah.
fun.
And so, is that something we might bring in?
You know, you keep
Maybe.
giving away all of our
Maybe.
stuff that we're bringing. How are we supposed to get excitement for people?
Find new things.
Yeah. But I mean, we have a plan. We have the core that we're bringing in, and then we have a plan for phase 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
Phase 3. So we're going to try and keep it fresh, exciting.
Yeah. Okay. So for our listeners, do you have any advice for someone who wants to start their own business or pursue their own adventure? What's your advice?
I would say, come up with your idea and go for it, no matter what anybody else says.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
my-
if it's something that you are passionate about and that you want to do, there's going to be the hardest part is that initial jump. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm putting my house up. I'm putting everything I own up. It's like a lot of, everything.
And it still feels that way.
Everything that you're
You know,
taught,
our house is on the line.
to be frugal and to not get into debt and to do all this stuff. You're kind of doing the opposite of all that. And you're having to like take it from a lens of, okay, but it's going to get better. And we're still kind of in the middle of it. We're not even to the part where we're actually, in the green yet. Yeah. And so we're still kind of in the middle of it. But I mean, if we've experienced anything, it's surround yourself with the people that have the same vision as you.
100%.
And as long as you're not cutting corners and you're doing everything correctly, the doors are going to open for you.
Yeah. That's good advice.
For sure. Don't take no for an answer.
There you go.
We got told no 50 times.
Yeah.
And you take the no and you let it burn brighter in you and light the fire and go to the next person and let them tell you no.
Yeah.
And get the fire even bigger and then let them tell you no and then make it bigger again. Like just keep pushing.
Build the fire. Don't let it dim you.
100%. 100%. Yeah. There was an analogy I heard one time where it's like if you blow on a flame, right, you're either going to blow the flame out or the flame will grow. Yeah. And so as the winds of adversity come and hit against you, you use it to build you, learn something from it and take it and move on and make the flame bigger.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good, especially, that was your whole case, like going to the banks and getting 50 no's and then having to go get 50 yeses from people even higher up than them to convince those first people that said no to say yes. So it's like,
for sure.
It's a battle.
Yeah.
One of the phrases that we say all the time is stay humble and stay hungry. Because I mean, if anything, starting a business, that's very humbling. You get humbled all the time, whether you want to be or not. It's just like people will put you in your place, and you have to be like, oh, okay. Well, how do I take that?
Well, you got to use those things to, move forward. You got to use those as fuel to keep going.
I think one of the other big things too is don't do it on your own.
Okay.
You need to have a team. Because if you try to do it by yourself, that'd
be so hard.
It's going to be so hard. And that success rate just goes down. There's no way that we would be where we're at without the people that we've connected with, whether that be, Sheldon when we brought him on board, or whether it be the people that we've met at IAPA, or whether it be the people that we've met locally. It's like the team has just gotten bigger and bigger. And as the team is getting larger, it's been able to be more successful.
For sure.
Yeah. So
that's exciting to see. Yeah. That's really exciting. Okay. So you guys will hopefully be open this year.
We're hoping summer. We're hoping summer of 2024. June, July. That's what we're shooting for right now.
July 2024. Mark your calendars to go to Chubbuck for Extreme Rush.
Yep. We'll do
soft opening. Our website.
Yeah. So go follow you on socials. What are your socials right now?
Go ahead. You're the social guy.
Extreme Rush.
That was Hannah, I thought.
ExtremeRushIdaho.com. And then
is there links to our social medias from there, like Facebook?
And if you go on Facebook or Instagram, it's just Extreme Rush Idaho.
Sounds good.
And we'll do updates as the building's getting built. We have a guy that has a drone. We'll do drone fly-throughs of the building. We'll do regular updates on how the buildings come along and stuff like that. So
very nice.
And we'll do like a really big grand opening, and we're gonna do some giveaways and stuff. But you'll only be able to do the giveaways through our social media. So if you're not following, make sure you're following so that you can be a part of that when we go to open.
Right.
Great.
That's exciting.
Sounds good. Yeah. Lots of good stuff.
That was great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for coming on today.
Good. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.